Hello, my name is Virginia Theerman, Curator of Historic Textiles at the Charleston Museum. The Historic Textiles collection contains approximately 10,000 objects, ranging from fashionable dress to military uniforms and working wear. Today, I'm examining an important piece of Reconstruction Era history in South Carolina, the red shirt. Red shirts were often worn by local chapters of what were socially known as rifle clubs, but were in fact paramilitary social groups across the South who worked to intimidate local freedmen and white sympathizers. In April 1871, Massachusetts Congressman Benjamin Butler had made an impassioned speech on the floor of the House. He spoke about ongoing lynchings and racial tensions in the post-war South, encouraging military intervention. Supposedly, he spoke while holding up the bloodied shirt of a man who had been badly beaten by the Ku Klux Klan members. While not true, this tall tale turned into a symbol, where red shirts mocked his suggestion that the adoption of martial law was necessary to prevent further violence. Red shirts often gathered at political rallies for candidates like Wade Hampton, or stood at polling places during elections, using intimidation and the threat of violence to prevent local black residents from voting. The red shirt in the collection here at the Charleston Museum was worn by Josiah McKie, who was present at the Hamburg Massacre in July 1876, one of the worst clashes between white supremacists and black militia members in the state's history. On July 4, 1876, Company A of the 18th Regiment of the South Carolina National Guard, a freedmen's company, was parading in Hamburg to celebrate the centennial holiday. Two white men, Thomas J. Butler and Henry Getzen, wanted to drive their cart down the main road, and a disagreement broke out between them and the captain of the company, Doc Adams. Though Butler and Getzen were allowed to pass, the next morning Butler took out a complaint against Adams for obstructing the road. Things only became more heated in court that day, and the hearing was postponed until Saturday, July 8th. In the intervening days, word spread, and many Rifle Club members found their way to Hamburg. Benjamin Tillman, who later became a United States Senator, was one of them. In a 1909 speech recalling the events of the day, he wrote that they wanted to, quote, seize the first opportunity that the Negroes might offer them to provoke a riot and teach the Negroes a lesson. Nothing but bloodshed and a good deal of it could answer the purpose of redeeming the state from Negro and carpetbag rule, end quote. In the end, over 100 red shirts turned up to confront the 38 members of the militia. They had been cornered into a second-floor room of a local meeting house after refusing to attend the sham trial that was now clearly an ambush. After demanding the militia surrender their weapons, the situation devolved into a firefight. Thomas McKie Merriweather, cousin of Josiah McKie, was shot and killed. He would be the only white casualty of the day, and his death further incited an already violent atmosphere. Two men, Moses Parks and James Cook, the town marshal, were shot down in the street as dark fell. After attempts to break the standoff and escape, 30 militiamen were then captured by the red shirts. They chose 5 of these men to murder by firing squad as examples to the rest. Their names were Allen Attaway, Albert Minart, David Phillips, Hampton Stevens, and Pompey Curry. Only Curry escaped by making a running break for it and then playing dead when the red shirts shot him in the leg. The consequences of the Hamburg Massacre were both far-reaching and yet underwhelming. It made national news and was even intensely debated in Congress. 94 red shirts were indicted as a result, but none were convicted. 2 of the participants that day, Benjamin Tillman and Matthew Butler, went on to become U.S. senators themselves. Hamburg, however, became a ghost town, and today is part of North Augusta, near Augusta, Georgia. A memorial to Merriweather, the sole white casualty, was erected in 1916 as part of efforts to build the myth of the lost cause. It stands in John C. Calhoun Park, proclaiming on one side, quote, he exemplified the highest ideal of Anglo-Saxon civilization. By his death, he assured the supremacy of that ideal, end quote. In recent years, efforts have been made to either remove or recontextualize the obelisk. This event of 150 years ago continues to have ripple effects as South Carolina works to reckon with that complex, divisive history today. Fortunately, a historic marker with a more complete history as well as a headstone in tribute to all of the victims, has been placed near Providence Baptist Church. McKie's shirt was donated to the museum in 1928, after his death in accordance with his own wishes. This catalog card, completed when the shirt was donated, describes the Red Shirts as a home defense unit who were called out to aid state and federal troops in dealing with a black uprising of insurgents. In this case, the museum's own history proves how strong the mythos was surrounding the Hamburg Massacre, framing it as part of the lost cause rather than intentionally provoked racist violence. Today, museum staff continue to update the language in our records and add additional context to provide a more complete history of our region. This fall, our new permanent gallery exhibition, Beyond the Ashes, the Lowcountry's New Beginnings, will open to the public. Covering the Reconstruction Era through the Civil Rights Movement and beyond, this new exhibit will include the red shirt on permanent display. For its long-term preservation, a reproduction of the shirt was made when the original object needs to rest in storage. The reproduction will be out on display. Thank you for joining me for this history of the red shirt. We hope you'll join us in the fall to mark the opening of our new permanent gallery exhibition, Beyond the Ashes, the Lowcountry's New Beginning.